So I'm going to show you how to replace the charging port on an iPhone 14 Pro. If you also have problems with your loudspeaker, lower mic, or Taptic engine, this might also be the video for you. Fair warning, this is a battery out repair. So grabbing some extra battery adhesives isn't a bad idea, or just using double-sided tape. And I'm also going to show you how to remove the screen on this device. And I'm also going to show you how to do it without damaging the OLED. So follow all the steps that I have. Any tools that I'll be using will be in the, there'll be links. I have an Amazon store with a bunch of different products that I use on a fairly regular basis. So yeah, if you have any questions about anything, tools, repair, whatever, just leave a comment or reach out to me directly. So I have this iFixit Jimmy. I filed down the edge, so it just makes it easier to slot in. We're gonna replace the screen protector. So sometimes it's kind of difficult. There we go. So I sort of pushed this way, and then I'm able to slot my Jimmy in. Okay. So once we're here, we apply a few drops of isopropyl alcohol, and I start in the center.
Later, bro.
Later, man. So I can feel it coming, sort of lifting up right there. I know that's not a very good angle. So once we're about right here, I apply a few more drops. And then we get to about right here. Once we're past the first, the two corners, it's quite a bit easier to get the rest of the screen off. So then I pry it up here, apply a few more drops, slide it in. I like the technique I use rather than sort of cutting, is I like to pry up, as you have less of a tendency to slip and stab. Or more specifically on this side, we can see our flex cable for our OLED. I'm being a little bit more careful on this model because I don't have any of these screens in stock, so I can't afford to damage this person's screen. Next, we have a handful of tri-wing screws, and don't forget about one right there. You'll notice that this screw is longer than the rest, which is one more reason why you should have a magnetic mat. Take this plate, Next, the first and last thing that we always disconnect is our battery. And then our OLED is right here. As you can see, my spudger isn't in very far. We have sort of a little shelf right in front. As long as you're using a nylon spudger, not using metal tools, you should be fine. Our screen set aside. Now, probably the next most important thing is getting our battery out. So I'm going to show you that right now. I'm going to start by removing my Taptic engine and loudspeaker. It's going to give me much better access to these battery tabs. I've seen videos where people use like tweezers and then they just twirl. I don't even feel comfortable doing that, and I've done, you know, hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of these. So my method is, then we disconnect our Taptic engine. So for our battery tabs, what am I doing? I always like to start with this one. You sort of peel it back. Now, I have a feeling I could probably do this one on its own. Now for the next one, these have a tendency to tear, at least on the 13s. Now luckily it's only from like here to here, but we're gonna use some isopropyl alcohol. And it still tore. Lovely. So, next. We're gonna come under here. Alright, so that one was successful. And the cool thing is we're now left, and I can basically see this is loose. Yeah, we had this much left. Now, some of you out there, I realize I have international viewers. Thank you so much. In the US of A, we have this incredibly stupid thing called an eSIM only device. Yeah, I don't know why, it's stupid. But your SIM should be, you might even have some extra screws, I'm not entirely sure. If you do, let me know for all the other people. There was a bit of foam. So next we have a few more screws. We also have some on the side. So there's a tri-wing here. There's a tri-wing here. But I'm gonna knock out all the tri-wings first, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here. Next, we have this plate. So there's a little sort of hook, or I don't know, yeah, just mine came out pretty easy, but sometimes this little dude right here will get hooked on something, so you just wanna push down and then to the right. And then we have standoff 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, we have 2 Phillips. Now for our charging port. Luckily, there's basically no adhesive there. I guess there's a little bit right there. And then we're gonna need to get past a couple of things. So our lower microphone, lower microphone is right there. And then we have our charge port. And there's a bit of adhesive underneath this little section right here. So you can warm it up if you want to. We have some of this foam getting stuck right there. And the nice thing about it is these literally just slide right out. And then we also have Yeah, more adhesive, but we can just pull this. Now, I'm just gonna be taking this exact port and then popping it right back in. But generally, when you get ports, you know, new ports or even OEM pulls, sometimes, let's see, first of all, you're gonna have to start by, you know, folding it in basically this shape right here. Next, a lot of the times, you can see basically this right here. You need to fold this over 90 degrees, and we'll notice this little, I don't know, latch, whatever you want to call it, lines up with this plastic tab. Lines up with this plastic tab right there. So you want to snap that into place. Which I'm having an awfully hard time doing. I might need to do this in the actual device. Boom, there we go. And then often, microphones will have a piece of plastic covering it, so you want to make sure to peel that off. So if, yeah, make sure to peel that off or else your microphone won't work. Now, generally, it's easiest to slot this part in first, and then you can sort of finagle this portion in. You do want this flap to go under the little speaker boot right there.
So, first of all, if you've got this far and you think, hell no, I do mailings. Second, I also buy iPhones. Working, broken, whatever. Even if it looks like this, I'm still interested. Link in the description. Let's make a deal.
And then our standoffs go back in 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I actually forgot about something. It is a good idea to test and make sure that your port is flush and it's not sitting at a weird angle. And also that you hear that snap. So we're good there. Next we have this little bracket. So I'm gonna pause here for just a sec. This was being kind of difficult. So rather than fighting with it, you just want to nudge this over with your spudger, and then I was able to get it in pretty easily. And then it looks like we're gonna have the same thing here. So we have this tri-wing. Is that in focus? Just barely. It's a lot easier to get that tri-wing in when this standoff is not. Next we have our Taptic. Now, I generally won't tighten my Taptic engine until I get all these, all 3 of these screws in. Next we just have adhesive for our battery. And not much else. Now for our battery. Fold these over. Now the technique I have, which I don't think we're gonna have so much of an issue on this one, but I always like to connect my battery first. That way I know anywhere I drop my battery, the flex will have proper reach. There on some models, if you just drop it in, sometimes you can be too high, too low, and then you literally need to remove the battery, put on new adhesive, and get the alignment properly. Like I said, I don't think we're gonna have that issue here. And then we disconnect it. Now on wider flexes, especially really expensive ones like this OLED, I always like to press right left or left right rather than dead center, as you can accidentally damage your flex. And we're going to QC the phone, make sure that all the buttons, microphones, etc. works. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't stand the always on display. So I turn it off. Comment below. You love it or hate it. So I'm getting ahead of myself for just a sec. We have this lovely little bracket, which goes on right there. And then remember, this little dude goes in between this flex, which you can see right here. Remember the large tri-wing. Now, all we have are 2 screws left, but before we do that, it is very important that you not have any loose screws. They have a habit of getting stuck on your Taptic engine, loudspeaker, ear speaker, or along the perimeter on your perimeter gasket. I have damaged screens before that way. Don't do that.